What's up, everybody? Appreciate you for tuning in to Passion and Precision. Hopefully, you're having a great weekend, enjoying yourself, being safe. And hopefully, you're ready for some good old sports talk with Jory and myself. If you're new to the channel, wire to wire, or new to the show, appreciate you for stopping by. If you're a regular, you already know what you're in for. We have a great show for you. At least I'm gonna say that. But we'll touch on, once again, NFL heavy show. We're less than 2 weeks away from the start of the season. Like, this is the time where fantasy drafts are going. You're watching preseason. You're looking at the ESPN bottom ticker to see who your team's cutting. Maybe a late off-season trade or something. Like, you're locked in, getting ready for the start of the season. So we're going to talk about some of the drama going on around the league. We're going to do some predictions as well. Not season predictions. We're going to say that for next week. But we're going to look at like NFL parity and talk about that. And then obviously you've got Final Burn to end the show. So you guys already know what to look for that. So before we get into everything, gotta talk to the co-host here. So Jory, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Allergies acting up. That's how I know fall is close. Start getting sick. But yeah, got a lot to talk about. Excited to talk some sports.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually, let me put this up right here just to give everybody an idea what we're gonna go through here. There we go. While we're doing a little intro here. So yeah. Oh, obviously, love to hear that. Well, mine's the allergy part. As somebody who's like, mom has allergies, I know. Once they start getting to you, it's just downhill from there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is everything we're going to talk about tonight. Obviously, want you all to drop in the comment, your thoughts on all of this as we're talking about it. Have a little back and forth, have a conversation with you. So we will get started with some NBA. Quick little NBA talk. Two stories that you might have missed amongst all the NFL. Also, college football did start today as well. So, big day in sports. We saw the NFL. I'm not the, oh, good Lord, the NBA. They announced, Rick Carlisle got an extension after the Pacers season last year. And then Billy Donovan got one, which I think might be surprising to some NBA fans, mainly the ones that live in Chicago. Maybe just across the board, surprised by that. So let's start with Rick Carlisle. I feel like you could agree Carlisle deserves the extension.
Absolutely.
So what the question I want to ask you is, where do you put Rick Carlisle in terms of like the coaching hierarchy? Because I feel like he's somebody who kind of gets overlooked when we talk about that. But the proof is out there. Like he won in Dallas. He's now winning in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
He's got to be up there in that conversation. So like, where do you kind of fit him into coaching rankings in the NBA?
He's definitely a top tier head coach. Like you said, the proof is in the pudding.
Mm-hmm.
Follow his follow his follow his work. He won in Dallas. He's starting to win in Indy.
Mm-hmm.
They could be back next year. I know there's some little tweaks here and there, but I don't understand. He gets overlooked because he's coaching in Indy, and nobody really likes the Pacers. That's the main reason why. But you can't lie and say that he didn't have he doesn't have a huge impact on that team, and he's not driving the machine to get them there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, because I feel like when you look at, especially Popovich being gone, I feel like I guess the top tier coaches, everybody looks at Spoelstra, everybody looks at Ty Lue. Like I said, Popovich was the third one. I feel like Steve Kerr used to be cemented in that group, but it seems like with kind of each passing year, you have some that still put him up there. You have some that kind of think Steve Kerr's a little overrated at this point and drop him down. But like you were saying, like I was saying, you very rarely hear about Carlisle in that conversation. And I would argue he's probably a top tier coach in this league. So the Pacers taking care of him makes a lot of sense. Smart move. He's a guy that if he were out there on the free agent market, like he'd get a job in 2 seconds. So it's good for Indy to do that. He'll obviously be tested a little bit next season without Halliburton, but I wouldn't doubt Carlisle to get that team in a position where they're still kind of a playoff team. Are they going to be an NBA Finals contender? Probably not, but I feel like he's established enough of a framework and a foundation that they can still compete next year. Like they still have some pieces. I know they did lose Miles Turner. We'll have to see how that affects them. But
what's good, Mo?
Yeah, what's going on, Mo? What's going on, Tony? Appreciate y'all. Uh, Tony, I saw that Red
What's
Sox
good,
beat.
Tony?
It's a great day. I can't lie.
I'm going to
1-3.
checked out of baseball.
I get that. I mean, yes, I definitely understand. It's been a tough year for the Braves, but Braves are an organization that don't stay down for long. So next season they may be on top of the NL East once again, and this year will just be blip on the radar. But yeah, Red Sox beating the Yankees the first 3 games, loving every minute of it. Every time they pan the Yankee crowd and all those fans looking sad, puts a smile on my face. See, Tony said Carlos definitely gets overlooked. He's a great coach. Agree. Yeah, it was good, Mo. How you doing? Rick made Indy an appealing place for free agents. That's fair.
Yeah, I mean, look.
Oh, go ahead.
Because think about it. Who wants to go play in Indiana?
True. Yeah, it's not the biggest market, not the sexiest market. I mean, when you think of Indy, you basically think of the Indianapolis 500. And I don't know how much of a draw that's going to be in 2025 to mid-20s NBA athletes. That's just me. So say yeah, Carlisle and probably Halliburton has something to do with that as well. As a point guard that likes to distribute the ball, the pace of play and everything like that makes them more appealing than they probably should be, or that they would normally be without Carlisle for sure. So agree with you there, Tony.
Not a questionable one.
He clears Doc, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mo, yeah, go ahead.
The questionable one happened one state over in Illinois. What are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, I guess the Donovan one is about stability. But even that, it's like, does he deserve that with the direction? Well, okay. Chicago's issues are probably more than Donovan. They're above him. The front office. You got to look at the front office. So the front office is just doing Donovan a solid for sticking with them, or just to be the fall guy to keep pressure off of them. That has to be it. Because if you look at his tenure in Chicago, you wouldn't think he would get an extension for what he's done. But like I said, you can't blame him for Patrick Williams. That was the front office. The holding on to Zach LaVine, Vucevic, DeMar, and all this stuff. Like until that front office gets cleaned out, I don't know if the Bulls ever. Not even get back to like the Jordan days, but like early Derrick Rose days where there was like actual excitement in Chicago. That seems like forever ago. Mo said, I don't see any top 10 player heading to Indy. Well, I mean, top 10 players all want sunshine and all that. So
and no taxes.
True, yeah. The Bulls aren't tanking; they're actually that bad. That's true. Like if they were tanking, you'd be like, oh, they have like a bunch of young pieces that are just figuring it out, and you could look to a future. The only young piece worthwhile on that team's like Buzelis. That's about it. Kobe White, eh. Patrick Williams definitely needs to go. Then it's like, what else? But hey, Billy Donovan got paid. So I guess he's going to lead the turnaround at some point. What's going on,
I
David?
don't see it.
Yeah, I don't see it either. I don't know. Until, like I said, till the Bulls really restructure that front office, I feel like they're just chasing their tail.
The
That's it.
owner's not going to do it.
Well, yeah.
The
So,
same person that owns the Bulls owns the White Sox, and
and look at the
they
mess the
both
White
have
Sox
some of
are.
the same issues.
Yeah, that's true. Look, and that's where, you know, you can do all you want as a sports franchise. If your structure internally is a mess, it's going to sabotage anything you may do out on the field, the court, or whatever.
Hmm.
Giddy's nice. He's a third or fourth option on a contender. Yes, I'd say yeah, probably more fourth option, but yeah. And in Chicago, he has to be, I guess, a one until Buzelis kind of matures a little bit. But if Giddy's your best player or your second best player, then yeah, you're staring at playing on an annual basis. So that's that's where the Bulls are. I mean, there's no point asking about Donovan's place in the coaching ranks because I'm I'm not a big fan of his coaching style. I mean, he was all right. He was all right at Florida. I give him that, but maybe he's just one of those guys who should have stayed in college. Maybe the college atmosphere is better for him than the NBA. Look at Sacramento train wreck.
Yep.
I want to root for Sacramento so much, but they just keep doing this. They give you the 1 year where they're good. What's going on, Key? And it's like right back to old Sacramento. All right. All right. So we got through NBA talk. Let's go ahead and get into this NFL because, like I said, everybody was here. We're all in the NFL mode anyway. NBA, we still got months before we need to think about that again. So, what's up, Trajan? So the NFL, we'll start with some of the drama. First one, we got to start with Micah Jerry once again. Uh, Still no resolution in sight.
Take us out the chat. Take
Well,
us
look,
out of the damn chat.
there was a chance for it to go away a little bit, and then Jerry found himself on Michael Irvin's podcast to let everybody in their mama know. Oh, we offered him this great contract with all this guaranteed money, but he has ulterior motives
The
and the
agent told us to
agent and
stick
all
it.
this kind of stuff. And it's like, Jerry, let's be real here. If you were offering the deal that you talking about to Michael Parsons, why would he not have jumped at that moment and signed it? So I guess it lies somewhere in the middle. That either Jerry sat there, was, sitting on his couch, daydreaming this whole scenario, but he thinks it played out in real life, or Micah and his agent, I guess, are looking to, I don't know, cancel Jerry Jones and make him look like a senile fool to get him out of Dallas.
They
Like
don't need much
that's how
help
this
for
is
that.
playing out.
Jerry do that himself by
Yeah.
doing little crap like that. You start talking to Michael Irvin. You sit down with Stephen A. Smith. You crap on the agent talking about the agent told us to stick it up our A. Da, 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
Why do you need to make this such a public spectacle? This is not Days of Our Lives Cowboys edition. The season starts in 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
2 weeks. Less than that, actually. But, and y'all literally start versus the Eagles. Are you kidding me?
Yep. Yeah. And look, and you would think Eagles being your first opponent would be a good way to start because that gets you to lock in right away against a team you hate in your division. But now that we're looking at this drama is just going to feed in, is just going to spill over. And I'm fully expecting that opening night. Cowboys look like a mess, look disorganized, and they may get embarrassed opening night by the Eagles. And
Good.
we know Jerry's not going to handle that. Not going to handle that well at all. So Key said Jerry said they got him locked for 3 years. Mo, not hot take. Bears won't win the North, and Jerry Jones needs to become a silent owner or retire to Shady Oaks. Yeah,
Mike ain't got to sign that franchise tag. Just say, get me out of here.
but that almost seems like where we're heading. Like Jerry's gonna play the franchise tag game because in Jerry's mind, it's the star means America's team, which means Jerry Jones is a star, which means you should feel privileged to put on my helmet and go out there and play. And Micah looks like the type where it's like, the star's nice, but I want the respect with the contract. I don't care what you did in your past. That was a long time ago. Jerry, you haven't been relevant since the mid 90s. What does that mean to Micah Parsons? Nothing.
Who wasn't even born yet.
Right. So it's like Jerry act like he's still in the 90s where you got Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman out there. We're so far from that. Most NFL fans at this point, if they want to know what that was like, they're checking on YouTube or whatever. Like, it's not something in the back of their mind anymore. What have you done for me lately? That's the sports world now. And the Cowboys have been a disappointment and sometimes a complete embarrassment with the way that they've lost some of these playoff games.
Now, what I will say about this is that you guys also have to look at who Micah's agent is. Here's another little angle.
Yeah.
He has David Mulugeta, and you know he's notorious. Me, personally, I think he's one of the better agents.
Mm-hmm.
But he's known for some crazy tactics. He's known for getting his play. I know him for the agent who gets his players to go play on bad teams for big contracts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I remember we talked about him before.
Like dealing with an agent like that, I believe there's something going on. But there's a reason he's dealt with that agent with Trayvon Diggs. So Jerry acting like he doesn't know who the hell David Mulugeta is. It's absolutely ridiculous because you dealt with the man with Trayvon Diggs.
That's actually a good point. Yeah. And usually with teams, that's kind of how it works. Like, you deal with one agent for one star athlete, and that usually kind of sets the stage for his other clients that are on your team. But like through this Micah thing, it's like we've learned Jerry just hates talking to agents in general. Which I'm like, that's kind of the way the process works, though. Like if you just wanted guys who represented themselves, then go ahead and scour the college ranks and draft those players. But if they have representation behind them, you're not going to get a deal done just dealing with the player. The agent's going to get involved in the process at some point.
If he wants players who represents themselves to fill his roster, he's going to be in the number one pick every year.
Yeah. That's why I'm like, this whole thing about the agent with ulterior motives, is it just that he's pushing back on your contract and that makes it ulterior motive? The agent's job is to get the best deal for their client. And look, I'm not sitting here being like pro agent, because in some cases you do feel like the agent tries to take advantage of the situation, for more money or whatever. But in this case, it just seems like Jerry just doesn't want to get with the times and wants to live in yesteryear and can't handle the fact that players today don't care about the mid 90s anymore. They just don't. When they look around the league and their boys are coming in like from college, their teammates come in, they go to other organizations and they have a better time. You don't feel like these athletes probably talk to each other. So the shine of that star in the helmet, long gone. That used to be a draw for people. You heard you play for the Cowboys, like that was legit. That was top tier for you. Now, not really. People would rather play for the Eagles. And look at that. They have a strong front office.
Michael wants to
Wonder
play
why.
for the Eagles.
But I mean, they have a strong front office. They don't have stories like this every year. Why wouldn't he want to play there? You look at the Chiefs, you look at all these organizations that win consistently, and you don't get all this drama. Why wouldn't star players rather play in situations like that? Except for this one where you got this like 80-something-year-old dude who wants to be the biggest star and treats y'all however he wants to as long as he's on top. Like, it's crazy.
Michael ought to just stand on business. Don't sign anything else that man offer you. Get me out of here.
Yeah. What's going on, Anthony? Breaking news. I did see that Shiloh got ejected throwing punches. Not a good week for the Sanders. Shador had a rough start. Shiloh gets ejected. That's rough.
They'll be all right.
Don't hear Jeff Lurie or Clark Hunt in the news exactly. Like, and Jerry just doesn't get it. And kind of like Mo said earlier, if Jerry wanted to do this right, like he could still be the mouthpiece and everything, but hand out responsibility to other people that actually understand today's athlete and today's landscape in the NFL. Like you can still do your radio show and all that and whatever, but leave the day-to-day stuff to younger people that know what they're doing.
When you're old and delusional and feel like you can't do no wrong, you don't just automatically get this sense of self-awareness um as you age. It's gonna get worse.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody gotta get them. Somebody got to get some realism into them.
Well,
But it's
the
gonna be
natural
hard at this point.
the natural candidate's got to be Stephen Jones. Like you, family, you right there. Pull dad aside and be like, look, we know the Cowboys and Jerry Jones are synonymous. That's never gonna go away. But why don't you just retire? Go work on TV.
The thing about it,
Do a little
David,
victory laps.
is if they had a handshake deal and Michael was willing to stick to that deal, if Jerry Jones went to the agent and they had it all situated for the terms and dealing with the little stuff, Michael would have communicated that part to the agent as well.
Yeah.
This is all on Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does the agent have ulterior motives? We know this. We know this. Most of his clients get the highest paid whatever tagging next to it. It's not a coincidence.
Yeah. So the only thing I could think of is, depending on the timing of it, like did Jerry try this maybe before some of these other deals happened, and then the agent was like, well, you know what? We just saw what so-and-so got. We're gonna need you to up your offer. And maybe to Jerry that was, a bridge too far. And he was just like, no. Nobody takes Jerry Jones and tells him what to do. And then that led to all this. That's what I want to know, like the timeline for all this and how we got here. But it does seem like at this point it's a game of chicken. Either Jerry comes to his senses and does whatever Mike and the agent want, or Mike and the agent look at Jerry and go, we'll sit the season out. We don't care. We're not gonna let you
the income.
Right. Because we're not gonna let you dictate, our terms for how we're gonna get back on the field. We want you to meet our number. So whoever blinks first will probably determine how this ends.
Either pay me or trade me. And people are offering you things for him. Y'all
Yeah,
just don't want to think that it's real and entertain it. But eventually, it's gonna get to the point where, all right, we might have to actually entertain this.
yeah. Well, they all, I mean,
If
they
you don't
also
want to pay him, and
it
if
sounds like.
all, and if the reason that you don't want to pay him is because you don't want to deal with the agent, and you let the trade this man away, you deserve what happens to you.
Mm-hmm. Can you imagine another team picking up the phone and Jerry's on the other end? No, so Drew come back in. Oh, here we go. Like, could you imagine as another team, phone's ringing, you pick it up, it's Jerry on the other line, and you're trying to negotiate with that man on a trade? Like in Jerry's mind, if he was like, what are you looking for from Micah? He might come with some crazy demands. And the minute you push back, he'll probably just hang up the phone and be like, oh, that team isn't serious about it. Like, we don't know what goes on in Jerry's head 24/7. Like, this man is acting like he's
He
going
doesn't
rogue
know what
right
goes
now.
on in his head 24/7.
But he's just going rogue. He don't care anymore. Uh, as David put it, yeah, the agent is supposed to have Micah's best interest. So, however the agent views that, if Jerry can't get behind it, then yeah, we're going to end up like this every time.
Speaking of agents, did you hear what Anthony Richardson agent said? Talking about a lack of trust.
Yes, I did. And I mean, that's where we're going next. So, good segue there. Well,
I'm
David said
like,
Shadow's going to get cut for sure. Let's see if he's on the practice squad. Yeah, Shaw was like a seventh round pick, so odds were against him. But yeah, let's go to Anthony Richardson.
I
He
had
he
another theory.
he loses the starting job to Daniel Jones, and I know a lot of the conversations have been about like who's in the wrong here. You know, the Colts doing him dirty, which is where I got the topic for the title for this episode from. But when you hear the agent talk about that lack of trust, because you just brought that up, where could you see that lack of trust coming from? You were drafted fourth or fifth overall. You were a project. They gave you the starting job. They allowed you to go out there, make your mistakes and everything. So now the lack of trust because you've had a couple of years and they brought in a veteran quarterback who they deemed outplayed you because one, you've been dealing with this shoulder injury for multiple seasons now.
Mm-hmm.
And now there's a lack of trust. So I guess the question is Anthony Richardson legit in that claim, or is he trying to deflect some of the blame for the situation back on the Colts?
The agent it needs to be quiet. Lack of trust. Y'all have a lack of trust in the franchise that drafted him for when everybody told them not to. That stuck him
Mm-hmm.
out there when everybody told them go get a veteran quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
Lack of trust. They gave him. They trusted him with everything. What are we talking about? That is delusional. That's a lie. That's just a blatant falsehood.
Mm-hmm.
That's an alternative fact. Talking about some lack of trust. If the Colts trusted Anthony Richardson to make a basic play, he'd still be a starting quarterback. But they
Mm-hmm.
don't trust him to do that.
So, so I guess the follow up would be because he was a project, should they not still trust him with the starting job, especially when your alternative plan is Daniel Jones, and we know who Daniel Jones is? Like, unless you think Daniel Jones is going to go out there and take this Colts team and make them like a 10-game winner, potential wild card team, would it be better to throw Anthony Richardson out there to continue to develop, however that looks, and maybe you lose a couple of games less, but you're still
It's
furthering the
clear.
development?
It's clear to me that Shane Steichen and them they don't want to develop him anymore. The offensive coordinator said somebody said we've done everything we could do and da 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 da. Once you start saying language like that, they've
Mhm.
given up on the man.
And that's probably a coaching staff that has pressure from the top to
And
win.
exactly, that's exactly why.
Yeah,
Steichen could be gone mid-season too.
right. And the last thing Steichen wants to do would be to go down with Anthony Richardson. Sure, for every 70-yard, moonshot he'll throw, he'll miss on a 15-yard out route.
Or he'll miss on a basic read and take a stupid sack.
Mm-hmm.
Like he did and got his pinky located. That was
Yeah,
the last straw for Steichen. I promise you, that was the last straw.
I can agree with that because that's what it definitely seemed like. Because we all saw that play. The defense was overloaded to one side, and Anthony Richardson never looked that way.
I'm like, it was your job to pick that up, bro.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on my couch and I know that.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that he just stood there like because he never saw the blitz coming. And most quarterbacks have it in their head like, if I don't get rid of the ball in like 2 seconds,
3 seconds.
I'm probably going to get blown up anyway. Anthony Richardson stood there like that pocket was clean and he had all day, even though he was like staring down one receiver the whole time. And then takes the hit, automatically goes out. And it was just like, once again, durability is an issue, but that's just a lack of awareness. And like we were saying, if Steichen's job is on the line, he can't sit here with a guy who can't even recognize a simple blitz and be like, yeah, I'm going to tie my career to that guy.
We're
And
in
you're,
year 3.
yeah. Yeah.
That stuff is something I see in Pee Wee football.
Yeah.
Because think about it. High schoolers, they pick that up. College quarterbacks, they pick that up. Even backup quarterbacks, they pick that up.
So do we have to blame that on his coaching coming up? Florida
Yes.
and I guess wherever high school he went to. And oddly enough, I guess a little self-promotion here. I did a video about Tom Brady's interview with Joel Klatt. And Tom Brady kind of alluded to something about development of quarterbacks now being kind of lacking in certain areas. Because he said with today's landscape, if you're like a gifted athlete as a quarterback, you kind of get coddled. So when it doesn't work out, it's never on them. It's always on the other pieces around them. And then when they get to the NFL, they get that harsh reality that it doesn't work like that anymore. And some guys just never figure it out. Anthony Richardson may be a case in point of that lack of development. And I guess to go with Key's point, is there another team that he can go to that could develop him?
He would have to go somewhere like the Packers, like the Rams, like
That's probably okay. So Anthony put the Ravens.
absolutely not.
Well, okay. I guess the pitch for the Ravens would be Ravens are a run centric kind of sort of like a kind of like quick passing, safe offense.
Anthony Richardson runs like Forrest Gump.
Well, yeah, but I mean the Ravens usually have a running back or two that could take pressure off of them. But he'd also be in no position to start right away because they still got Lamar there. I think that's going to be the key thing. If he goes somewhere else, it's got to be somewhere where they have a starter in place so that I guess Richardson doesn't necessarily feel pressure to be the starter right away. I think the Rams and Packers are interesting only because you have Stafford, you have Love, you have McVay, you have LaFleur, offensive guys and programs out there that seem like they understand what they're doing. So he probably could get some development there. Okay, David says 49ers.
Yeah. Even
That's a
though I
good one.
think Shanahan is a scam, but he knows what he's doing when it comes to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
It's just everything else about playoff success that I'm like, what are you doing, man?
So Anthony said, or maybe Anthony doesn't fit the Colts scheme.
What
I mean,
is the Colt scheme?
the Colts scheme has been Jonathan Taylor for so long that shouldn't that kind of fit Anthony Richardson? Like there isn't necessarily a lot on Richardson in Indy. It's just make the smart throw, make the open read. All else fails, you have a top 5 running back behind you that can give you support. And the problem is Anthony Richardson just doesn't have that nuance of the quarterback position.
David, Sean Payton is going to lose his crap within a week of having Anthony Richardson.
But Sean Payton knows offense. I mean, Sean Payton might test Anthony Richardson's, patience because, like you said, Payne's going to be all over him, and whether or not Richardson thrives in that or not is one thing. But yeah, the Richardson and Colts marriage, it probably needs to end at this point.
Talking about some lack of trust. The organization trusted you with the keys to the Mercedes Benz and you wrecked it. Not only
Mm-hmm.
did you wreck it, you flipped it, you T-boned it, you did whatever you needed to do with it. You totaled that mug. Why
Yep.
are we talking about the lack of trust?
Yeah. Like
Hard pass.
the only thing I could see that would make sense if the agent was like when they took Richardson, like they were told they were gonna get this 4 or 5 years, and the team was willing to work with him and develop around him, and then year 3, it seemed like the rug was pulled out from underneath them. If that's the case, the agent's kind of living delusionally because
Yeah, because once you get drafted at 4,
no organization is gonna offer you like some 5 years of, you know, smooth sailing and don't worry, your job's safe. No. Like you have to prove it every year. And I think the Colts would have been fine if there was some sign of development with Richardson. But like I said, it's year 3, and he looks the same as he did when he came out as a rookie when a lot of us thought the pick was questionable to begin with. So I don't understand the lack of trust. You need to look at your client and be like, what aren't you doing that some of these other guys are doing to make yourself a starting quarterback?
Cam Ward knows not to take that stupid with beep and beep sack.
Yeah. I mean, we've seen Cam Ward in preseason games show more than Anthony Richardson has in 3 years. Like that throw that we talked about, the Van Jefferson. Have we seen Anthony Richardson make that throw in his 3 years?
No.
That's the problem. If Trey Lance didn't work as Herbert's backup, Jim Harbaugh could work with him. Jim Harbaugh would be a good coach for him. But what's going on, Coach? Appreciate you tuning in. Who's the future for the Rams after Stafford? That is a good question. Because the Rams are obviously going to go as far as Stafford can take them. But Stafford's 37 with a back injury, even though he's like back practicing and stuff, but he's not getting any younger. I don't know how you feel about Stetson Bennett, but I wouldn't trust my future with him. I feel like what the Rams will do, they'll play Stafford until he retires and then probably look to get somebody in free agency.
They need to start looking at the draft. Didn't they just get a first round draft pick from Atlanta?
Yes. Yeah. Because isn't that how Atlanta got
Junior?
Yeah. Which God, Atlanta doing Atlanta things, but yeah, I mean, I think they'll obviously do that, but only because McVay. Remember last time when it looked like Stafford might have been a little iffy in terms of retirement, like McVay was halfway to going to like the Fox booth instead of coaching. I don't know if McVay necessarily wants to go that route. So he may want to get the free agent,
Well,
kind
go
of
get
keep the
Anthony
line
Richardson
moving.
and turn him into gold. He'll be available.
That would be a
Will Levis is
yeah.
available.
Yeah. Look, maybe McVay thinks he could do it with Stetson Bennett. I don't know. I mean, Stetson Bennett is also an older quarterback. I don't know. But that's
Will
something I
Levis
thought
is
about the
available.
Rams, though. Hmm?
Will Levis is available.
Yeah. Like, don't be surprised if we don't see, some quarterback get released here and the Rams not pick them up. I wouldn't be shocked by that. Dave said the Steelers, they held Justin Fields. Didn't they?
Really?
Russell Wilson was ready. They kicked Fields to the curb. So I don't know if I'd put the Steelers up there. Plus, you want Anthony Richardson dealing with Arthur Smith. I don't know if I like that matchup. McVay's gone if Stafford retires. That's kind of the way it does seem like. But that's a good question, Anthony. What is their future after Stafford?
They just got to stink once or twice, get a high draft pick, and
well, that would be for the new coach because I agree with Key. Minute Stafford, walks into the sunset, McVay is going to be like, I'm out. They will go into media or something.
All right.
Let's go. Worst to first, yes. So, look, the spirit of parity in the NFL. Every season, you kind of look at the teams that finished last the year before, and because the NFL is the way it is, for a lot of years, there's always that one team that makes the jump up to first in the division. Not saying it happens every year, but Jory and I are going to look at who has the best chance to go worst to first this upcoming season. Now, to refresh, he doesn't want another rebuild. I feel like the Rams team isn't bad, though. It actually isn't. The Rams have a good team this year. Love versing the defense, and then I think the Adams pickup is going to be great for the Rams. But Stafford does need to be healthy for all that to work. And I saw him moving around, and it seems like he's fine. I feel like this back injury might have been just to give the old vet some time off during, training camp and all that. Because most of these vets at this point, they do not care about this process.
At least he was there and not in Egypt.
True. Yes. that is true. Let's see. So, yeah. We're going to look at the teams who went last. Who finished last place last season. Oh, this might be a question right up your alley. Who leaves first? Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay?
Stafford is closer to the end than the beginning. That should be relatively soon. I believe that if the 49ers, if they got saved by Brock Purdy. Got saved. Mr. Shanahan did. Because anybody else would have been gone by now. But eventually, I see Shanahan staying for a little bit after McVay. It probably won't be much longer, though.
That is a very good question. Like, I guess you have to look at it as with Shanahan. If they had another season like last year, or even worse, could Shanahan survive that? Like, if your answer is no, it's maybe more likely Shanahan's the first one to go. Unless you believe the 49ers will turn it around. McVay, I think Stafford has probably 2 years in him. I'll go McVay. Although I do think it's interesting. Because Shanahan's a guy who
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, like, Shanahan's a guy that you may not think is on a hot seat, but he could be, like, surprisingly on one. Because last season, look, the 49ers were a shock last year of how bad they were. And you look at this offseason that they just had, losing a lot of guys that you remember from the Super Bowl not that long ago. Plus the issues they have offensively, where you don't know who the wide receivers are really. You have Ayuk, but Ayuk's hurt. You don't have Debo anymore. You have Pearsall, who was drafted last year. You have Jawan Jennings, who I believe was like unhappy with his contract situation. And it's like, what are the Niners right now? So they won 6 games last year. Like, if this is a season where they're like a 4-win team and it just looks like a hot mess, has Shanahan done enough with the Super Bowl appearances to survive that? Or would that front office out there be like, maybe we need another
he's been the main reason why they lose them.
That's what I'm saying. So maybe Shanahan is the answer here.
And it's like, I'm just thinking about that because usually, because John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan, they really have done some good work together.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not denying that. But maybe it's around that time where, yeah, something new needs to be done. As far as front office and head coach is concerned. Something new probably needs to be done.
Yeah.
We're starting to see it. But like you said, if the wheels fall off this coming season, even if they have an easy schedule, just because they play both the NFC South and the AFC South does not mean it's going to be easy.
Right.
The AFC, like, even though the AFC South, even though the division is weird, there are 3 really good defensive linemen, three really good defensive lines that are going to give that offensive line hell. It's not going to be a given.
Yeah, that's fair. And look, schedule could be easy. You still got to execute on those days and win. Because this NFL, we see it on a weekly basis. Teams who should win lose, and the other way around. But yeah, the game isn't played out on paper. So, like you said, AFC South has some good defenses. NFC South has potential. We just don't know much about the NFC South outside of the Bucks. Every other team in that division could look, well, I think most people think the Saints will be terrible, but Panthers and Falcons could be better than expected or worse. We just don't know with those 2 teams. So, yeah, 49ers have some proving to do. As Keith said, seats should be warm if they have another bad season. I think that's a fair thing to say.
Fair assessment.
Yeah. He's not going to get the John Harbaugh treatment where he's just safe no matter what. I think Shanahan has to turn it around this season. But where's the first? Where we're transitioning to. So I'm going to give you the teams who finished last, and you tell me who has the best chance to flip the script and win their division this season. We're talking about the NFC. Let's start NFC. NFC West, you had the 49ers finish last at 6-11. We literally just talked about their whole team. So, can they do it?
No.
The NFC South, you have 2 teams that qualified because they had a tie for last. The Saints and the Panthers. I feel like you ask any NFL fan, you feel more favorably about the Panthers' future than the Saints. But,
absolutely.
Yeah, keep looking. Let's see, the North, you had the Bears. Bears had a good offseason. Some questions about Caleb and Ben Johnson, how long that might take to gel, but they're also a team that a lot of people seem favorable about coming up this year. The NFC East, you had the Giants, who were 3-14. Giants have good defense. The offense, question marks, especially at the quarterback position, but feel a little bit better about Jackson Dart after seeing him in the preseason. but they still have plenty of question marks on that side of the ball. AFC, we have the Raiders who finished last in the West. They're going through their own transition with Pete Carroll. They got Genty as a high draft pick. They have Brock Bowers from last season. They re-signed their guy Max Crosby, so their pieces are there. AFC South, well, your Titans finished last. I mean, you and I have talked about the Titans and their offseason. Just mainly the quarterback position. A lot of optimism behind Cam Ward, so already enough reason to feel good about next season. AFC North, you got the Browns. The Browns seem like they keep making headlines for all the wrong reasons, but they have Shador, which I feel like some people are kind of getting behind for some optimism, but still a lot of problems out in Cleveland. And then in the AFC East, my Patriots came in last, 4-13. So, who has the best chance to go worst to first?
Let's do this by division. Because they might
Okay.
not go worst to first. I'll put them reasonably where they can end up.
Okay,
Because I
we can
don't
do
think
that.
there's nobody going to be worst to first. Outside of maybe the Panthers. And that's because I don't trust the Falcons. And the Buccaneers go as Baker go. But I put like worst to did it though. Like for your that's where do I want to start?
We can do that. We'll do that. We'll do it that way then. We'll go each division. We'll give our maybe percent chance or good chance, bad chance that they can do it. I guess that would be easier than to try to remember each team and then decide. Okay, so we'll start the NFC West. How good of a chance do the 49ers have of going worst to first in that division?
AFC West or NFC West?
NFC West with the
Okay.
49ers.
They're not I give them a 25% chance. Too much turnover. I would give them a 50% chance of staying where they are.
Okay.
Another 25-30% of chance of them moving up to third because I don't like the Cardinals.
Okay. I feel like most projections I've seen, either you think the easy schedule propels them to like winning the division, or I think a lot of people have them finishing second or third with a lot more movement towards third. I'm kind of there with you. I don't think they do it because if the Rams don't win that division again, I say the Seahawks would be the team to do it. That also depends on how much you believe in Darnold, but I like what the Seahawks are doing, and I think that the Rams and the Seahawks win that division, so I don't give the Niners much of a chance to go worst to first. I think they could finish third only because the Cardinals. It's just still that question
Blackhawks
with
come out
Kyler
this
Murray. It's just like I want to root for Kyler Murray. I like some of the pieces with the Cardinals, but it's just that every year, especially last year, because remember they had that loss to Buffalo, and people thought, oh, the Cardinals might be back. They might be a good team because they played Buffalo really well up in Buffalo. They had a good first half of the season. You look at their second half, and they were a terrible team. And Kyler Murray's production kind of went the same way. Good in the first half, second half, especially late in the second half, his production slipped. So until he kind of proves me otherwise, I can't trust him.
And don't Black Ops come out this year?
It does. It does. So yeah. I mean, he's got Black Ops. He's got Battlefield coming out this year. I don't know. I don't know if he plays Battlefield like that, but he may be. Yeah, his focus might be all the way gone by the time we get to. It's like November when those two come out. So yeah.
He is not going to be able to shake the moniker of Call of Duty Kyler.
Mm-hmm.
Because they put that crap in his contract. That was hilarious.
Yeah.
Way to throw the quarterback under the bus, Arizona.
No, that's going to stay with him until they are a playoff team. Until they
They'll
do.
never be a playoff team with him.
Hmm?
They're not going to be a playoff team with him.
But I was saying the only way he can get past that is he's gonna have to, well, maybe not even a playoff team, but if he could put together 17 straight games of at least consistent play, that would go a long way. He hasn't done
And
that.
not get hurt.
Oh, I mean, the hurt part is he's a little guy. That's part of the problem.
Bryce
But
Young don't get
a lot
hurt.
of that is he scrambles around a lot.
Bryce Young's short.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at Bryce Young, you feel like Bryce Young processes things better than Kyler. So
Yeah, Bryce Young is more of a pocket passer. So
yeah, Kyler Murray is a backyard football player where he takes and he'll scramble around for 20 seconds, and that's no problem to him. But I guess speaking of Bryce Young, NFC South, the Panthers and the Saints finished last. Like I said, I don't think we will give the Saints any chance because they have their own issues.
I'm not giving them the time of day.
So let's look at the Panthers. How good is their chance to go first? Worst to first. Bucks have won that division 5 years in a row.
I give
Falcons.
them a 40% chance.
Okay. Yeah.
Because the Falcons are gonna Falcon. And I'm not sure if I care for Raheem Morris as their head coach.
Mm-hmm.
They need somebody who knows who has better command.
I can agree with that. 40% of the Panthers. I mean, look, I like what the Panthers are doing. I think the Bucks are a really good team, so I think it's gonna be tough. But if I'm looking at it right now, I wouldn't be shocked if the Panthers were second in that division. Especially if you get second half of last season Bryce Young.
Yep.
If Ted McMillan, comes in and looks really good. They've spent a lot of time on the defense this offseason. So there's improvement there. I mean, look, if it's like week 16, 17, 18, I think the Panthers could be playing in meaningful games for the division, which would be a big step in the right direction for them. Because I don't think the Bucks necessarily run away with the division.
Mm-mm.
Because they're probably, I mean, they won the division at 10-7 last year. I feel like 10-7, 11-6, maybe on the best possible side. That's probably where the Bucks come in. If the Panthers are like an 8-9 win team, I wouldn't be surprised by that. So I can see your 40%. That does make a lot of sense there. The NFC North. I think a lot of people would probably look at the Bears as the team with the best chance because that division, the Lions and the Vikings aren't winning 15 and 14 games. That's given. So there's going to be some extra wins to go around. I think the team that would stand in the Bears' way to do it would be the Packers, who finished third, who I think have a really good chance to win that division. So I actually give the Bears a low shot of winning the NFC North.
People forget just because he looked really good in the preseason, that's going to take time to build between Caleb and Ben throughout the regular season. That's going to take some time. Mm-hmm. There's going to be times where you see Ben Johnson just chewing Caleb out.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I can't give them a high percentage chance to win a division. I'd give them maybe a 15.
Okay. Yeah,
I think the Packers are going to be really good this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, they might want to ask the people for Toyota to start Toyotathon earlier, but...
Yeah. Yeah. But, I mean, look, I think I think the Packers will get another good year from Josh Jacobs. I think the Matthew Golden pick will look really good. And I think Jordan Love's going to have a good season. I guess it depends on how much do you think the Lions necessarily drop off. Because I think there'll be some drop off. I don't think it's as much as some people think with some of the coaching guys, some of the guys in the coaching staff that left, Carlton Davis and guys like that left as well. But I think Dan Campbell, if you play Madden or college football, like Dan Campbell is an ultimate motivator. So like any coaches you put around him, like Dan Campbell's going to empower them to be the best that they can be. And that roster is still very good. So I think the Lions probably win the division again, but I think the Packers would be the team that pushes them and not the Bears. So I would give the Bears like a 10-15% chance to do it. NFC East, the Giants. I mean, this one's probably like 2% for me because I don't see any way that they make up the 11-win gap between them and the Eagles and go worst to first. I don't think they surpass the Commanders. Obviously, that's hinged on Terry McLaurin, but I think the Giants could be feisty this year. They probably won't win a lot, but I think they'll be feisty. I think they'll be entertaining on the sideline. Mm-hmm. I know before, off air, we saw the thing with Jackson Dart and Jameis Winston. Like, you can tell the mood on that team is definitely better. I just don't think it's going to lead to a lot more wins on the field. But the vibes will be there. Schedule? Right, with that schedule especially, yeah. But the vibes are there.
Like, hold on, I can pull that up right now. Because I'm like, yeah, enjoy that W that you ate, Jameis, because you ain't going to be eating a lot more of them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm
also,
like,
Jameis gave them the full experience. He, threw the touchdown pass and then threw a horrible interception. That's Jameis Winston.
Look at how they start.
Mm-hmm.
At Washington, at Dallas, versus the Chiefs, versus the Chargers. Who did they piss off? Who?
I mean, Dallas is a mess. That's a game they could steal. Washington, depending on the McLaurin thing, don't know. I think Washington in the long run would be better, but second week of the season. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. A feisty Giants team from those first 4 games. Best case, they might be like a 2-2. And they might actually feel good about that.
I thought they were going to be feisty. They, on opening night, they lost 40-0.
Yeah, true.
I feel like the Saints game is winnable.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got murderers row here. Philly, Broncos, Philly, 49ers, Bears. All teams with good defenses minus the 49ers. They got some work to do.
Right. But the 49ers went out and got Robert Saleh, so he's at least going to bring that. Yeah, I mean, so the Giants, look, if the Giants start with those first 4 and they're like 0-4, it's going to go south quickly because, the morale will be down and then you have to get through that section of the schedule you're talking about against really good teams. If they're 2-2 from the first 4, they may be a confident bunch. And then in that next stretch, they're probably not going to win more than they lose, but they might make it uncomfortable for a few of those teams.
Yeah, because then you got the Packers, Lions, and Patriots, and all of them got good defenses.
Yeah.
So good luck with that.
I mean, look, if the mandate for Dayball making the playoffs is legit, not fair. But I think if the Giants team feisty, they're competitive, the quarterback situation doesn't look dire because I'm assuming they'll probably start with Russ, but at some point Jackson Dart will get his shot. If Jackson's Dart goes out there, plays well, I feel like that should be enough for Dayball to get another year. Because the last thing you want to do, Dart goes out there and plays. He's taken this time to learn Dayball's system, and then you rip Dayball away from him, bring in another coach, and now in Dart's second year, he's learning a new philosophy that's now going to hinder Dart's growth. And the new coach may not even like Jackson Dart like that. So if you're going to commit to Jackson Dart, at least give Dayball like 2-3 years at least with him.
Mm-hmm.
Put him on the Anthony Richardson timeline. If Jackson Dart stinks in 3 years, then wipe them both out. I feel like that's the way they should do it. Will they? Probably not.
The difference between Dart and Richardson is we all was warned telling people Richardson is a project. Jackson Dart was shooting up people's draft boards.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And from what I saw, I'm like, they might be third in the division depending on how soon they go to Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
I think he got a spark.
Mm-hmm.
I think he got some game. I see why Dable took him.
Right. So that's I'm like, I'd hope the front office, they came out and talked about the playoffs because every team does that. Our goal is the playoffs. Well, you got to look in the mirror and be like, that's not a realistic goal.
Not with this offensive line.
But I think the front office might be saying that so Dayball shows some type of progress. Because if they win another 3 games, they look like a mess. Jackson Dart or not, I don't think Dayball keeps his job. Even though I don't think Dayball's a terrible coach. It's just he was stuck with Daniel Jones. Like, unless Daniel Jones wins, like I said, if Daniel Jones takes the Colts to the playoffs, then you look at Dayball and go, maybe he is the problem. But if Daniel Jones stinks in Indy, that should be vindication for Dayball. Like, it wasn't me. It was that guy. I couldn't fix him. Dart is a different case. Okay. Let's go AFC.
I'm trying to figure out the Colts' logic here. Because I'm like, if Shane Steichen, I think Jalen Hurts got Steichen that job.
Yes.
Because he's failed with Anthony Richardson.
Mm-hmm.
What makes you think he can make Daniel Jones into a reclamation project?
But that's the same thing. That's the same thing Dayball's going through. Dayball got that job because of his work with Josh Allen. But then you gave him Daniel Jones, who's not Josh Allen. It's these front offices that get in their own
chose
way.
That one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then he turned around and chose Daniel Jones. He deserves to be fired. That's a fireable offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then again, we were just talking about the Niners. Fireable offense would have been where they took Trey Lance where they did. Purdy was taken as Mr. Irrelevant. Purdy panned out, which then made them look more favorably. Because now people don't even talk about the Trey Lance pick anymore. They just talk about Brock Purdy. But that Trey Lance pick should have been the pick that got them fired. You can't waste a third pick on a guy who is now on his third team? Because he went to the Cowboys and he went to the Cowboys for whatever reason, and now he's with the Chargers, where it looks like that could be a spot for him. Like, the little bit I've seen from Trey Lance in the preseason, like, he looks serviceable. He's not going to push Herbert for his job, but if you had to turn to him, I feel like Harbaugh feels like he could keep them in the game and he wouldn't lose it for them, I guess. But yeah. All right, AFC West, the Raiders finished last. Now we all know with that division, it's tough to think of them leaping over the Chiefs, Chargers, and Broncos, but how much of a chance you give the Raiders to go worse to first?
0.
I'm there with you. Yeah, that division, I just can't see it this year.
The 3 teams ahead of them all got franchise quarterback. Geno Smith is not a franchise quarterback at this point. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You're trying to get yourself in a position where you had the rest of the team kind of already built out before you go get your franchise quarterback. And that's smart. What the
Mm-hmm.
Raiders are actually doing, that's smart.
Yeah.
But they realistically, they're not going to go worse to first. Not when the 3 quarterbacks in your division are Bo Nix, Justin Herbert, and Patrick Mahomes.
Yep.
Absolutely not. No fault to their own. It's just they play in a hard division.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's kind of what it is with them. Anthony, you feel like the Raiders will run down that rookie running back? Well, that's why they took Genty as high as they did. And look, Pete Carroll getting Geno Smith, who knows Pete Carroll's, I guess, system or whatever, is smart as a way to bridge to the next guy. And with Genty and his ability, they're going to hope to establish Genty in the run game. Probably go play action with Geno Smith, or you can maybe get Brock Bowers open over the middle or whatever, and try to win that way. Why not? Play the possession game, especially when you go up against some of these other offenses in your division. Limit the opportunities that you give Patrick Mahomes or Herbert or Bo Nix, and see if you can't keep the score down and pull one out in the end. Like that's probably the best way that they can do it right now, while Pete Carroll gets more of his guys there, and then they bring in that quarterback maybe next year that helps them progress a little bit more. But yeah, not a lot of reason to think the Raiders are going to do that. So
If
all right,
not,
let's
they
move
can come get Will Levis. They can come get Will Levis.
Well, I mean, as long as Levis is out with the shoulder thing, nobody's getting him. But I see what you're saying.
I want him off my team.
Well, I mean, the minute he's cleared for football activity, they can move him at that point. AFC South. Your Titans finished last. You obviously, got the Jags, Colts, the Texans. We've talked about the Colts enough. We've identified the issues there. Jags have plenty of issues. I mean, the Jags only finished one game better, so they're another team that's behind the 8 ball. So the main question is, percent chance that the Titans could overtake the Texans, who are another team that's had a interesting offseason, to put it, reshuffling their offensive line. They did get a wide receiver in the draft, but their wide receiver group's going to look different with no Tank Dell. They got Nick Chubb, which you got Joe Mixon, Nick Chubb, Damian Pierce. Okay. Although I think Mixon is a little banged up, but
he's hurt.
Yeah, but Nick Chubb's in the fold.
And he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, Nick Chubb's just the guy who's just snake bitten by injuries. But he recovers from them because he puts up those videos of him squatting like 3 million pounds and he looks good.
That's probably why his knees keep giving out.
That's actually a conversation.
Have you noticed you don't see Derrick Henry doing all of that anymore?
We probably feel like he could do that on a consistent basis because Derrick Henry is also a well-built, strong running back.
Yeah, he can.
Yeah. Nick Chubb is definitely like those.
He was 600 in college.
Yeah.
But we don't see him lifting heavy like that.
Yeah. That could be it. But that's a running back room that you're just like.
I'm not impressed.
I'm saying name one. Well, Damian Pierce, had the good rookie year, hasn't matched that since. Nick Chubb, like we talked about, and Joe Mixon was a good addition for them a couple of years ago. But yeah, what percent chance Titans have worst to first?
40.
Okay.
Depends on if the offensive line can keep Cam upright.
Hmm.
And the receivers. I'm not going to be that delusional.
Yeah.
Look, I have two veterans in Ridley and in Lockett.
Yeah.
They can catch.
Hmm. Yeah.
It's everybody behind those two.
Your guy Van Jefferson made a play. Was it
I
yesterday?
don't.
I'm just saying. Took a quick little curl route, then faced up the corner, juked him, went down the sideline for like was like 70-yard play for a touchdown. As long as he gets the ball in his hands, he can make some plays after the catch. I'll just say.
He stinks. Um, but watch out for Elik Iomenor.
That's a name I need to hear like a broadcaster say it first. I have no idea how to attack that one.
Elik, the flying Canadian.
There you go. Yeah.
Him.
The last name like that, usually the nickname works better.
That's what I call him. Shoot. He from Canada.
Yeah.
Though another area I could be a little worried about is the tight ends, but not really. Because we got Okonkwo, we got Wild. Gunnar Helm is gonna be he's a stud in the making. My team has talent. It's just I need Callahan to call better plays
Mm-hmm.
in the offensive line and not do offensive line ish and get stupid false start penalties and holding. I'm tired of that word, holding
Mm-hmm.
5 yards. Let's not do that. Keep camp clean. And
Mm-hmm.
I thoroughly believe that this team is talented enough. And I'm not even going at it with the defense and the improvements that they've made.
Mm-hmm.
You saw the starters out that last preseason game. The starters played.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's 20 to 25 pounds lighter, and he's faster.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then you
I
got
think that
Kawhi in the middle. That's scary.
yeah. I think the biggest thing with the Titans will be probably just time that they need to work some stuff out. And that may depend on how much separation the Texans create early. Like the Texans are, 4-4 or something towards the midway point. I think if you're a Titans fan or, supporter, you'd feel good about that because there's a chance that the Titans look better second half of the year than they necessarily do first half. So if
Mm-hmm.
they can stay in the race, then yeah, they'll make it interesting down the stretch. Because Cam Ward seems like he's not going to be one of those rookies that's going to be, surprised by the NFL. He seems like he's got a handle on that. You have your running game that's there. You have a bit of a reshuffled O line. So once again, the first half they'll be kind of learning how to play as a unit, and then you feel like second half they'll probably be better off. And then that defense, if the defense can maybe carry them through the first half, then maybe in the second half the offense can kind of make it more of a level playing field between both sides of the ball.
We have
And
a
who
week
knows what that
5
looks
bye,
like?
so
Yeah.
we have a very early bye week.
Which can work. I mean, most teams would rather their bye week be like week 8 to 10 range, but early bye week, especially for a younger team, may work as well. You play a few weeks, get a bit of a reset, and then go into it after that and maybe hit your stride, that could work for them as well. Houston won the division last year with 10 wins. Not an insurmountable amount. So, I mean, look, I agree with you. I like the direction the Titans are going in. I'm not on the Jags bandwagon or the Colts what they got going on. So I think it's the Titans really have to look at the Texans, and the Texans could take a step back. I mean, I like CJ Stroud. I need to see what that line does for him as well. That's going to be the big thing for Houston. If the line looks good, Houston will have a good year. If they're shaky, might be a little bit worried. AFC North, the Browns. This is probably another team you and I would agree with. 0% chance. Like, there's no reason to really go. Because look, you got the Bengals, Steelers, and the Ravens. They're not leaping over all three of those teams. So 0%. Question I'll ask, only to give the Browns this respect. Does Shador start at some point this season? And when do you kind of think it happens? Early on, mid-season, late in the year?
I think he does, and I think it's late in the year.
Okay. Okay. I can agree with that. All right, last division. No, but
You saw that other quarterback that got $235 million guaranteed is still posting videos like he just so close to coming back. Stop
yeah,
reminding us that you exist. We don't care.
right. Yeah, Deshaun's he's just trying to stay in the conversation. That's it. Even though he hasn't realized that most Browns fans don't want you in the conversation. I think most NFL fans at this point don't want you in the conversation. But in his mind, he thinks he can get back to where he was. I don't trust the Browns quarterback room or the running back. The running back room, I mean, you got Jerome Ford and yeah. It's going to be a struggle offensively for the Browns. Because even their wide receiver room, you got Jerry Jeudy. Okay. And Njoku at tight end. Okay. But we know Flacco. Flacco loves the deep ball. Are the Browns necessarily the team for him to showcase that with? Like, Jerry Jeudy can get down the field. I feel like I don't really view Jeudy like that on a consistent basis. But interesting to see. But yeah, Anthony, I think you're right to question the quarterback and the running back room for sure. Final division, AFC East. My Patriots came in last there. Jets are a game better than the Dolphins and the Bills. We can both agree the Bills will be good again this season. Dolphins, you and I have questioned them for weeks now. Jets, I believe you and I might be higher on than some might be. So looking at the Patriots, what percent chance do they get to overtake the Bills and win the AFC East next season?
That's one of those teams where you want to put them at low. But because you got to know who you're dealing with when it comes to Vrabel, I'm not putting it out the realm of possibility that he wins games that he should not win, and they're right there come December. He's a better coach at that than McDaniel.
Right. Yeah.
And until Aaron Glenn proves it, he's a better coach at that than Glenn.
I mean, you can argue with Vrabel's past, he probably walks into that division as the best coach in the division.
Yep.
I mean, McDermott, I give McDermott a lot of credit, but just saying, Vrabel has a good track history of his own.
I give him 30% chance.
Okay. I'll be actually higher than me. I'm gonna go 15%. I think Vrabel will show progress year one, but Vrabel's real impact will be more year two and beyond. I think this year Vrabel's just looking at it as, from afar, Patriots were a mess last year. I'm here to clean that up. Like, we're gonna be button up the organization, we're gonna know our plan and go out, whatever. Next year will be more of like him getting more of his guys and everything like that, and then for them to take a step. So I'll give him 15% chance. All right, so it looks like our best guess for worst to first would be the Panthers, who we feel the most trust in. And then the
Yeah.
least, obviously, we give to the Browns and Raiders. Well, that's about right. All right, let's go ahead and get into our team reports. Let's do this. So
I kind of already did mine.
that's true.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
just let you go with that one.
Okay. That's fair. That's what you did. You did elaborate a lot on your team. So I'll go with mine really quickly. All right. So we're coming down to cut down day and everything like that, which, for players on the edges of the roster, it's a stressful time. As a fan, I'm watching this and I'm kind of noticing some things with the Patriots that are a little bit intriguing. I think mentioned this last week. The wide receiver competition has become a little bit more clearer, but there's still some decisions that Vrabel's going to have to make. Jalen Polk, who's a guy who probably wasn't going to make the team or was on the bubble for sure, but it looks like he's out with the shoulder injury. Even though Vrabel gave a classic Vrabel press conference on that one.
Boston media got to learn. Y'all should know this
They
man
they
has an
know
attitude.
but they know Vrabel. This is why they're doing this, because they know Vrabel's going to give them sound bites. And if you hadn't seen it, you can go check it out. But Vrabel was asked about, the report about Polk having season-ending surgery. What are can you elaborate on that? And Vrabel just looked at him and was like, clearly we have some rats in this organization, and I'm going to find them and get rid of them. I was like, okay, Vrabel, we're doing this. And look, that's what I love about Vrabel. That's what I think fans are gonna love Vrabel, and he's probably the guy the organization needs right now. While Bill's down in North Carolina, even though that whole thing reared its ugly head when Bill made his comments about the difference between college and the NFL, and Bill goes, "You don't have to deal with owners and their sons in college," and that set off Boston media because Belichick had it his way in New England for 20-something years. But whatever, that's Belichick being Belichick.
He's
But
talking
look,
about Arthur Blank when it comes to that.
well, he's on the Kraft. He can't stand Kraft, and Jonathan Kraft, his son, has uh, established more of a position of power in the organization later on in Bill's tenure. So yeah, he wasn't a big fan, especially when Kraft did the. I think when Kraft started talking more, I think Bill really didn't like that because Kraft was kind of voicing his displeasure for like the trajectory of the organization, and Bill wasn't a fan of that. Mind you, this is the same Bill who later in his years tried to trade Rob Gronkowski, but then couldn't find a partner, and then they ended up winning a Super Bowl with Rob, the Rams Super Bowl. He consistently got on Brady's nerves and everything like that. So it is what it is. Like, Belichick is still a great coach, but people are like, his ego became to the point where he just couldn't stay there anymore. But
That's North Carolina's problem and his 26-year-old girlfriend's problem.
Exactly. And look, it may work in college. More power to him. So yeah, I'm excited to see what the 53 man roster looks like. I think most of their position groups are kind of set. Quarterback, it's May and Dobbs. Dobbs hasn't had a great preseason, but he's a veteran presence. I like the running back room with Trayvon Henderson, Ramondre Stevenson, who's slimmed down, and Antonio Gibson. That's a good trio there. Wide receiver group, like I said it last week, Efton Chisholm is going to make the team. And it's kind of crazy to think about. He was an undrafted free agent, but Vrabel established early on when they gave him like record-breaking money as an undrafted free agent, they were expecting him to possibly make the roster. Looks like he's going to. Linebacker is a bit of a question for me, only because behind Landry, Chason, Spillane, Gibbons, they don't really have much else. So if one of those guys ends up getting hurt, I'm a little worried about what that looks like. But I think this team is ready for the regular season. I think Vrabel's in midseason form already, and
Get ready for more smart ass responses.
yeah, I mean that's basically what it is. I mean, this is the same man who was asked a question about people not putting carts or something, and he turned that into like a whole Law and Order episode talking about I'd put him in jail and all this kind of stuff. Like, okay, Vrabel, like calm down. So
No, because people not putting the carts back really is annoying.
no,
You'll be thinking there's a parking spot there, and then you see there's a parking.
yeah,
You see people being lazy and not putting putting the daggone carts back in the little thing. And what
especially
really
it's like right
infuriates
next
you
to it.
is
That's what
when,
it is.
yes,
Yeah.
they love to do that all the time. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, it would have took you 5 seconds to put it back.
Yeah. That's
Right.
yeah,
That
that's
part I got.
no, I
People can
look
do that.
his rant, he was dead on with the rant. It was just that because it was Diana Rossini who asked him. It was clearly just a little question to kind of get it going. But Vrabel took it like, no, I'm gonna run with this one. Like, give me some time to breathe with it. And he just went through it. And there was even a point where she tried
I
to like
bet
move
you
it
done
along.
hit a cart.
Yeah, exactly. That's probably what happened. Or like a cart ran into his car while he was in there and came out and was like, if I ever get the chance to talk about this, I'm gonna give my full thought on it. So, like you said, you know it very well from his time in Tennessee. Vrabel is going to be must-watch TV in press conferences. So, yeah, so I'm ready for the 53 man roster. I think they've showed enough in the preseason to be optimistic. I do think expectations might need to be tempered a little bit because I do think some people looking at this team as like some 11, 12 win team. I think that's crazy for year one. I'm more along the lines of if they're 8, 9 wins, I will take that. And I've even evolved to if they're like a 7 win team, I'll take that because they literally won 4 games last year. I just want to see improvement in year one with Rabel. And I think that the roster he's putting out there, they should be improved. So that's my Foxborough files for this week. Next week, we'll actually be looking at regular season games. That's going to be a lot of fun. But now, as we end our show, as we always do, take that down. There we go. Final burn. If you're new to the show, this is where we look at the sports world of the week, find those people, teams, whoever that just get on our nerves and we got to talk about them. We always start with you, Jory. Who's on your final burn?
It's not necessarily who.
Okay.
It's the type of person.
Okay.
I start my soliloquy because it's coming. The first three This is the first point I want to make clear. If the shoe fits, wear it. Actions. Because this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
Because, as we know, Brock Lesnar's daughter, Maya, she posted a video of her in a bikini. There's no issue. My issues are people with who are screenshotting it and doing all this extra stuff, saving her picture just to go bully the girl in a group chat or try to, or make a post trying to degrade her because this is gonna sound rough, but she's not ugly. She has unconventional looks because she has albinism.
She's a shot putter.
Oh,
Yeah.
used to looking at these BBL hippos that y'all forget natural bodies come in different shapes.
Okay. I wasn't ready for BBL hippo. Okay.
I mean,
No, I could just say, like, she may not fit
y'all are so
conventional
used to
beauty,
dealing with
but
people who
yeah,
alter their body
yeah.
and who have naturally Coke bottle shaped bodies that they you realize that they don't come in any they come in different shapes. I don't know why this is so hard to realize when it comes to women. Not every woman is going to be shaped like an hourglass.
Mm-hmm.
Just like not every man is going to be 6'6" with chiseled abs and nice muscles and all that other crap.
Yeah.
Aged. Clearly she found somebody who loves her for
There
her
you go.
looks.
There you go.
Folks over here talking about, oh, good for him, but it'll never be me. You wasn't even an option. She wouldn't look dead your way if you was at Walmart. Folks over here got so much to say about they got so much to say. But I'm like, you're not
Mm-hmm.
even in the position to handle somebody like her or somebody like her. Why are you
Mm-hmm.
talking? How would you like it if somebody posted a picture of your daughter in their group chat trying to bully her? Or your baby mama? Or your mama? Or something?
Yeah. Good point. Look, she doesn't have to be for everybody. She just needs to be for somebody.
Does not mean you get to bully them.
Mm-hmm.
Or try to.
Yeah.
This. She's
Right.
200 pounds. She looks good for 200 pounds. What are we talking about?
And look, yeah, in that video, she's clearly showing she is comfortable in her skin. She's comfortable with her body and her looks because she has a man. She's got I guess a future in shot putting that that could lead you to the Olympics and everything. Look, she may even get into dad's business of being a wrestler for all we know. We have no idea. Like, she has a future ahead of her. She's got love on her side. She's just living her life, living it
And
well.
yet, weirdos feel the need that because they're not attracted to her, that they need to feel the need to unnecessarily tear her down. I'm sure there's things about some of you men that y'all don't like.
Mm-hmm.
Some of y'all bigger chest than mine. And I was born with these. Y'all weren't.
Yeah.
But you got nerve to sit here and bully a female. But as soon as a but as soon as a woman tells you that you got C or D cups, you get mad.
Mhm. But we see this. We see it in other women's sports. You know,
That's why I'm glad that Joy Taylor went back at Whitlock. That crap was
that's
hilarious.
so weird. Like for Whitlock to say that, one to call her peanut butter, which I thought Joy Taylor was like shocker food.
Food.
That was hilarious. But talking about he couldn't do a show with her because he wouldn't know what he would have done with her chest, and it's like, bruh, do you think she would have allowed you to do anything?
Yeah,
Like
because the
you
second
do see
I tried
yourself,
to
right?
advance, I got one in the thigh and two in the eye.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Joy Taylor had some good one-liners in there. But the way she opened it, though, I'm surprised he's still with us with his cholesterol the way it is. That set the stage for how the rest of that line of questioning was going to go. And
And Cam was loving it.
yeah, because Cam just kept spurring on. I mean, I like him. She's like, I don't. So we can keep moving. He's like, I'm just saying. If I met him, I'd thank him. She's like, you're not meeting him anywhere. Where do you see him out? He doesn't go anywhere.
And Cam is lying too.
He definitely was.
He was just trying to egg her on to get her to
Yeah.
keep going at him. Cam ain't slick.
Which shout
But
out to
that's
Cam.
not,
He's gonna get his number retired at that school that you don't want to necessarily talk about, but he's getting his number retired there. So shout out to Cam Newton for that.
forget him. Stop hating on Jalen Hurts.
Yeah. Look, there's a good chance he'll have another target once the season starts.
And don't target Cameron.
Mm. Well, I think we kind of know what the narrative is going to be for a lot of people this season. It's going to be Shador. We've already seen it. The fact Shador wasn't named starter, which I mean, I guess I was gonna use that a little bit for my final burn. So I'll let you finish up with yours.
That was done.
Oh yeah, so mine is just the narratives with Shador because he wasn't named the starter, and now it's like people are looking at it as some type of broader issue as to why he's not the starter.
Some lady
One.
on Facebook definitely
Mm-hmm.
said, "Why can't they just move on to the?" I'm like, you don't watch football. You're not throwing Shador
Mm-hmm.
Sanders in that fire in that division.
Yeah,
You're not
that's
doing that.
they should actually Shador fans should be happy the Browns are doing it this way. This may be the smartest thing they have going on. Now, if they go into the season and let's say Shador is listed as a number 3 and like Gabriel was the backup, you want to have an issue with that, have a field day. But
They're
if he's going to
quiet
go
right now because he struggled a little bit.
right after this past game, it would be a little more justified. But I think people are looking at it as ceiling wise, Shador has a higher ceiling than Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel's limited by being a smaller guy. Arm isn't necessarily strong or anything, whatever. But I wouldn't want to see Shador out there week 1 because I also wonder if they did name him the starter week 1 and he went out there and got beaten around for 4 games or so. I think that would be an issue. Then people would say, oh, the Browns just set him up to fail and just threw him out there to do whatever. So I have no problem if they're going to go with Flacco to start with. Let Flacco, face off against teams that he knows well within the division in the first 4 or 5 weeks. You may not win, but Flacco will be prepared to face those teams. Like do you want to throw Shador out there and have him face the Ravens defense, the Steelers defense? Well, you can't say the Bengals defense, but
They don't have one, but
go up against and think he has to match the Bengals offense shot for shot right away. No, let Flacco do it. You continue your work behind the scenes with Shador. That way, and you have an educated, reasoning behind when you turn to him, you've put him in the best position to start because you don't want it to turn into like a David Carr. Remember, David Carr was thrown out there to the Wolves with the Texans, got beat up, and never really developed and became a great quarterback. Like, you have to be careful when you throw these guys out there. So yes, some Shador fans are going to be upset the same way they were upset draft night for where he was drafted, even though I said, I don't care. You heard your name. You're already ahead of the curve. Now what? So the same thing now. If he makes the team, he's not the starter. So what? Put in the work. And if you are that guy, when you get your opportunity, you'll take hold of it. You'll move forward. And you'll be the starter for 10, 12 years. You'll get big money in your second contract. That's what matters to rookies anyway. Like, you'll be fine. So I feel like people want to create narratives around Shador Sanders already just for the headline of it. Can we just let this thing play out? Because, look, we still don't even know if Shador's going to be a great NFL quarterback. We don't know. As good as he looked the first preseason game, he looked god-awful the second one. But he's also a rookie. You got to have to deal with that, the fluctuations in play. So, yeah, I like what the Browns are doing. Makes a lot of sense. Joe Flacco should start. Joe Flacco's been there, done that twice around. Like, the same man who was sitting on his couch came in and won games. Like, Joe Flacco knows what he's doing. And I'd rather have Shador learning under Joe Flacco anyway.
And like you just alluded to throwing him out there. Did we not just go over the whole Anthony Richardson saga?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, exactly. And I'd also hope, I guess, for the Browns front office, the Stefanski part of this is interesting as well. I think he's another guy probably coaching for his job. But, it's going to be tricky because if Stefanski pulls the trigger and moves to Shador, if Shador shows something, like, is Stefanski going to be the coach that will be allowed to continue to grow with Shador? Or will the Browns do what a lot of teams like to do, pull Stefanski away, bring somebody else in, and then you got to hope that person, like Shador, works with him and all that. So Browns will put themselves in a tricky situation here by bringing in Shador and all the popularity and everything that he has. That's going to be a lot of attention on you week in and week out because you're going to see it. In week one, they're getting blown out. Fans will be calling for Shador, analysts and all that. Let's hope Cleveland's ready for this. Because they drafted a rock star.
They should be prepared because they just had a predator play quarterback.
Well, yeah. I mean, true. But I think that even puts more pressure. The quicker you push Shador out there, the quicker you can distance from Deshaun Watson.
They will never be able to distance from Deshaun Watson.
I'm just talking about the Sunday where you don't have to worry about the camera panning around and seeing that man get in the frame. I think Cleveland wants that to be done with.
Oh, okay.
You even see it in the preseason. The times the camera pan around, you'll see, I think it was the first game with Sanders, where he's throwing touchdown passes. Joe Flacco was happy for him. Back in the rear of the frame, Deshaun Watson was sitting there.
Mugging.
Yeah. That I think Cleveland wants to get away from. Like,
I can imagine that. That's not really.
Because Deshaun Watson in his mind feels like when I get healthy, this is still my job.
No, you
Cleveland,
don't have a
Cleveland's
job
like
here anymore. It's just
right.
too dang expensive to cut you.
Yes, and Cleveland has to watch Baker kill it in Tampa Bay while they have to watch you in street clothes on the bench going, we really made that decision. And we look dumber every week for it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was just my quick final burn. Let the Shador stuff play out. I don't need to see every week post about he should be starting. This is that, blah, blah, blah. The Browns are holding them back. No, they're going about this the right way. Let it play out. Okay, that's all we got for you. Uh, as we do round out the show, Jory, you want to let them know what you got going on. Also, if you haven't checked out Jory Sports Stories, go ahead and do so. That's where you get her content. But yeah, Jory, let them know what you're working on.
I got an article coming out about the AFC East. I already have the AFC North and the AFC South out already over there on the Passion and Precision blog over on Tumblr and on WordPress. I will have another audio episode out soon. It's been a minute since I did one of those. Life has been lifing, but I'm gonna get back into it. So stick around for new weekly episodes of Jory Sports Stories. And I got a couple of videos I'm thinking about doing. I got a couple of ways I want to redo my channel, so it's coming soon. So tune in.
There you go. Yeah, look, appreciate all of you for tuning in. I will be back on here Tuesday with Brett, most likely, because we have been doing On the Ball on Thursday the past couple of weeks because of schedule, but I think we're back on Tuesday. I mean, I guess in terms of my channel, you can go check that out. Chomping at the bit if you want to see some of my content. But yeah, look, just make sure you like, follow, subscribe to Wire to Wire. Check out the shows on the network. You saw it in the intro, the shows that are on here. They're all great personalities and everything. During the week, Monday through Friday, you start your day with coffee and sports, and then the rest of the lineup kind of fills in after that. And look, coffee and sports
Oh,
are great too. Oh, go ahead.
Hoop Dreams and Touchdown Queens will be coming back soon.
There you go. Yeah. So that will
My
get you.
co-host was in comments.
Yes. Key was in the comments. And that would normally be where you see Jory on Saturdays. Over on there. So appreciate all of you. Love the energy in the chat. Gotta make sure you come back again next week. Like I said, next week we will be in NFL season mode. We'll be predicting week 1. We'll obviously have big storylines in terms of final rosters and guys getting cut. Like, we'll have all that to talk about next week. So make sure you're here for that. You'll find out who Jory and I have as playoff teams. Probably get a Super Bowl prediction. All that will be coming next week. So you got to be here for it. So appreciate all of you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We will see you next week. All right. Bye. We'll see you.